Okay, Sistas fans. Now I know that it's an unpopular opinion to back Hayden in his recent, charges that he has pressed against Fatima and had her arrested. I've been reading the various comments on my live stream, episode review, tweets, Instagram, and what have you. And I'm okay. Let me put it this way. When I say that yes, Fatima deserves everything she has coming to her because what she did was sloppy and stupid, from going over to Hayden's, busting out the windows of his car, going into his house, busting up the glass table, his television, throwing everything off the table, breaking it, and then on top of that, tossing the urn with his father's ashes to the ground. I mean, threatening him and Gary with a baseball bat, declaring, "Do you want to die? You better tell me what I need to know," this and that. That was reckless and stupid. Now keep in mind, when I say yes, Fatima deserves to be arrested, Fatima deserves to have charges pressed against her, that does not mean I am turning the other way, ignoring everything Hayden has done to this point. Over the past couple of days, I had some interesting conversations with people where we pretty much, compiled all of Hayden's, transgressions or, offenses toward Fatima and or Zach. And yeah, it's a lengthy list. But here's the thing. And again, I'm not turning the other cheek saying that, Hayden, he ain't got to go through nothing. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's appalling to me how many people are like, she reached her breaking point. Fatima did what she had to do. Justice for Fatima. Nah, man, hashtag justice for Hayden. Yeah, I said it. But here's the thing. Let's go over the list of everything Hayden has done. If I missed anything, feel free to let me know in the comment section. But most of the time, before you can get into the list, most of the time when Hayden does something, it's almost as if Fatima has her hand or finger on the trigger, metaphorically speaking, but chooses not to pull it, basically warning him or threatening him, but never actually doing something that would kind of, quote unquote, put him out of the way for good. Not killing him, but you know what I mean, getting him fired and whatnot. So, one of the first things with Hayden's character going way back to season 2, I believe, where Fatima and Zach were, first starting to see each other. And I think Hayden went down to one of the properties that Chainbreakers was working on. And he pretty much, was talking with Zach, kind of lightly threatening him, basically saying that, okay, you mess around with Fatima, one wrong step and you can end up back in jail. Basically insinuating that, if you get too close to Fatima, maybe I could pull some strings and you'll be back where you came from, but this time you're not getting out. All right. Then after that, we had him have one of the people that lives in Fatima's building plant drugs in the, the spare tire or back tire of the Chainbreaker truck that Zach was borrowing from the company that Fatima let him have, so he can drive, place to place, from work to the Chainbreakers property and then back to her house. And as a result, he got arrested. Now, it's yet to be determined if Hayden was the one that had him arrested, because remember, at the same time, unknowingly enough, Karen put out the warrant for Zach's arrest for the credit card fraud back in season 2 for $5,000, and he got arrested for that. And then it was discovered in the truck there were drugs, and then that was going to pile up on his charges, but Fatima got him out. But Fatima found out what was going on because I think she looked at security footage of the apartment complex, saw it was one of Hayden's people, and I think she even invited him over to her apartment for dinner. And that's when she told him everything. It's like, look, I know you did this, this, and this. If you don't make this evidence disappear and get Zach out, I'm going to have you fired. I'm going to, get you locked up, this and that. And Hayden did it, and Zach walked free. Okay. All right. Now from there, we go over to, there's a big gap between him doing something extremely devious versus him being just creepy, snooping around. There are plenty of times where he was just, strolling around Fatima's office when she wasn't in there, and Andy caught him in there a couple of times, and even Fatima's like, "What are you doing in my office?" "Oh, I was just waiting for you." "Why are you behind my desk?" Or the whole thing where he recorded the confrontation between, I think, Andy and Jasmine's crew, and then Fatima when she had the gun and everything, so he had that recorded. But moving forward from there, we know he was kind of tapping into the company phone calls to tap into the phone line of Fatima and, pretty much learn about Zach's newfound fortune, his new property. And then he jumped on and made a counter offer, which isn't illegal. He pretty much wanted to sabotage, Zach's plans to get a home for him and Fatima. And later on, he showed up there again, and it was trespassing. But at that time, Zach had literally just signed the papers. And yet again, he's threatening him because he knows Zach is doing something foul / illegal to get the stock wins, but he doesn't have proof yet. So he kept making calls to like Bill Watts and so many other people. And that's why the FCC is breathing down his neck. All right. So next thing after that, he took some of the recorded phone calls, edited them, sent them to Zach. That caused a rift between him and Fatima, which thankfully Fatima was able to figure it out. So from there, her and Andy busted him, with the whole, what was it, orange shirt and blue jeans, and said that, oh yeah, well, I just sent an email to corporate to have you fired for this and that. And it was a bluff. They didn't really do it. They had the tools right there, the evidence and all, to prove that he was indeed tapping phone lines, which was against company policy and would have gotten him fired, but they didn't do it. All right. So from there, you had the situation where, going back to where Zach was at his house, and Hayden came over and threatened him, saying, you know what, I'm going to have you locked away and this and that. He told Fatima about it. Fatima's like, you know what, I'm going to confront him myself. That's when she went into his car. And she fair enough, she respectfully asked, hey, are you going to leave me alone, leave me and Zach alone? And he said, no, I'm just getting started, leading to, the brass knuckles, hitting him several times till he hit her back. She got out of the car after, getting the two goons to beat him up, strip him down, leave him naked, unconscious on the hood of his car, thinking that, well, the company thought he was dead. And from there, he was on crutches, and, I think she even threatened to do even more to him if he snitched about it. And that led to, him and Gary working together, like Gary having certain people breathing down Zach's neck. And, Hayden would keep an eye on Andy at the law firm. But aside from that, I think that Hayden has been pretty quiet. Now, this goes back to recent events where Fatima went over there and made a fool out of herself, because when she approached Hayden in the parking garage, or I think that Hayden was coming up behind her on the crutches, she's like, oh yeah, we're even. It's like, oh no, we ain't even get started yet. And later that night, that's when Zach got arrested. So she assumed that Hayden did what he did, leading to Zach being arrested. She went over there, wrecked his stuff, and then that's where we are right now. So yeah, Hayden has a huge laundry list of things that he has done to Fatima. But the thing about it is, Fatima has had plenty of times to shut Hayden down. She just didn't do it. It's just that I don't have a problem with Hayden pressing charges, because think of it this way. Hayden is doing things the legal way versus Fatima, who's doing it the hood way. So on the one hand, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of torn here, because like I said, I feel like the biggest thing, and this is just me talking, and not saying either one of them are right for what they did. I mean, you could argue definitely Fatima has been on the defense for most of this entire run when it comes to her and Hayden. And she even warned him and Zach that she's crazy. Once she gets to a certain place, she can't ever turn the crazy off. So yeah, Hayden kept poking the bear, and the bear came through and tore up his place looking for some honey. And in that case, the honey was, getting the answer she was seeking. But on the other hand, I just don't like how Fatima was written to be, for, Jasmine, or better yet, Medea 2.0. It just seemed extremely out of character for her to act like that, at the very least, without having the evidence to prove Hayden was guilty, which he wasn't, and I told y'all so. Ha! But it's kind of like, going back to what I said earlier in the video before listing off all the things Hayden has done to Fatima and Zach. There have been plenty of times where he's been caught in the act. He could have gotten fired, but nothing ever happened. They chose to just kind of, okay, well, Hayden has learned his lesson, even though it's been made clear that no matter what, he's never going to learn this lesson. Kind of like the whole Batman killing Joker thing. One of the biggest things that fans debate in DC Comics. You know, aside from the whole Joker's so popular, if you kill them all, blah, 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 blah. No, it's the whole morality thing of, look, Batman, every time you catch Joker, put him back in the Arkham Asylum, he breaks out and he kills thousands of people. And it just keeps repeating over and over again. When are you going to stop it? But he chooses to kind of go with the flow. When it comes to Fatima and Hayden, it's just like, you know what? Sometimes you got to put the dog down. He's never going to learn. Now, what did she expect would happen? You know, the fact that she's like, oops, my bad. You know what? Just clean all this up. And the funny thing is, there was a recent story, I believe, about a woman who got arrested after throwing her boyfriend's mother's ashes and urn into a lake, because I think that the boyfriend cheated, and she's being charged with abuse of a corpse. And I mean, this was posted on TikTok and everything. I mean, this was like, wow, people just post anything and then wonder why they get arrested for something. So I don't know. I mean, say what you will about Hayden and his antics, but at the very least, he's never gone after Fatima's family. So it's just one of those things where that was completely unnecessary. I mean, even though I don't like Gary, he was at least trying to keep a level head and talk through the situation of, hey, let's calm down. What are you trying to know? Every time Fatima asked the question of, what did you do? I don't know what you're talking about. She would smash something else. And keep in mind, Gary and Hayden are two men. I feel like they probably could have overpowered Fatima, but keep in mind, if they did that, they would have been looked at as abusers, kind of in the same real world scenario of Jay-Z, you know, taking the slaps and whatnot that Solange was giving him in the elevator. I mean, if he would have put hands on her or whatever, he would have been looked at as a monster. So the double standard, just saying. So I feel like Hayden, you could argue that, yeah, Hayden got what he deserved, or man, Hayden deserved far more than what he got. I mean, he got off lucky that she didn't take that bat and wail on him or, you know, did this and that. But no, the urn for me was really just way over the top. I feel like at that point, I'm like, you're just making her do this to do this. And I'm wondering, we know Fatima is going to get out of this, but I wonder how she's going to get out of this. I mean, like I've done the videos before, like, Hayden's restraining order, trying to get her fired and whatnot. Sure, that could be reversed on him because Robin could have him fired due to the whole phone line tapping and whatnot. But how the hell is Fatima going to get out of this one? But then again, you know, her man Zach, he got money, he got connections. Andy works at the law firm and she's screwing with the person who owns it. So there could be some strings that are pulled. But just because strings are pulled and Fatima's allowed to walk free, do you think that's the right thing? Just saying. So that's all I got to say for the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hashtag justice for Hayden. Just saying. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.